And 3, 2, 1, action.
Welcome to Ouu I Love Archives. This is a very special moment for us because we're celebrating Ouu I Love's birthday. My name is Denitza Leon, and I'm the founder and creative director of Ouu I Love. I'm so excited because today we're going to be going over all of our past projects and understanding the story of Ouu I Love and how we became the creative marketing agency that we are today, and seeing the most iconic projects that we've had the opportunity to be part of. Okay, so funny story about the name Denitza Digital. I realized quickly that clients just weren't able to pronounce my name, being Denitza, and that's when I realized I'm like, we need to change this name as soon as possible. Okay, let's get into this next one. So this right here is our first pitch to Beauty Creations. Honestly, this backstory behind it was I pretty much lost my job in 2017, like 5 days before Christmas, had my pity party. I literally thought that was my dream career. And an opportunity came about in early January 2018 where I got to meet Esmeralda and her team. Before my meeting with them, I was like, well, I want to present what I could do for them. So I went to the swap meet. I went to the different vendors, sourced the different products that they carried. I think they had like the lipstick. I think what you see here is the Tease Me palette, which was like the most popular palette at the time for them. And I got a variety of products, pretty much showed them what I could do to take their brand to the next level. Really, during that time, it was like all about indie beauty. But what Beauty Creations was doing was pretty much they were marketing to the Latino community. And I truly felt that no one in beauty was doing it. And so I went, pitched them, showed them what I could do for their websites, for their photos. In creating the pitch deck, I pretty much sourced all the products. I took them home with me. I can't believe I did this, but I shot all their products in natural sunlight. And it was in my pink childhood bedroom that I grew up in. Just looking back and seeing how I had this little space and I was photographing their products in natural lighting. But I honestly just believed in the brand and I saw that they had so much opportunity. And I'm so grateful for Brenda and Ruby, who were part of, I think, making that introduction into Esmeralda. I even think I did a video at the time. I don't know where it's at exactly, but I think looking back, I truly believed in them and they are probably the most iconic brand today for beauty. Now we're moving into 2019. Ooh, Miss Glamify Me. Now this one's a good story. So Leonard was the CEO of Glamify Me. He ended up becoming a really great friend in the industry today. We actually met when I was photographing at Beauty Creations headquarters. I remember I was in one of the offices photographing and they were like, oh, meet Leonard. That introduction literally just was probably one of the best ones because I got to work with him in truly developing his brand, Glamify Me. And he pretty much sent me all his products. In 2019, we were already in our Santa Ana studio. It was probably like a 500 square foot studio that I shared with like 4 other creatives, being like a musician, a woman who was pursuing music, another photographer. But the funny part was they were never in the studio. And eventually they just were like, we want to give you the studio to take over. And that's where I started photographing a lot more. I would source props. And I think what you see here in this image, I pretty much sourced like this vintage purse that you see here and these sunglasses that I thought were really retro and chic. So this is when I invested into some studio lighting, these like $500 lights that I thought were like the biggest investment at the time, but it truly pivoted the business. Ooh, this one's a good one. So Beauty Creations actually owned 2 other brands, being Be Bella Cosmetics and Trend Beauty. But this image here was their Be Bella palette, which was the obsession. We weren't just like an agency at the time that was just strictly photo, but we were also doing like graphic design and print work. They would send me their products and it was a new launch that they were having of the Obsession palette. So I shot it on a white background and I kept it really simple because I really wanted the design to just speak for itself. And I knew I had to design like a front and back of a PR card, which you see here. and I would actually do the copywriting. This was fun because I think it really challenged me to step into like my graphic design side, because I went to school for PR and I got to like take classes on Photoshop and really understand, okay, some of the fundamentals. But when it came to applying it in real life, it was pretty much understanding dye lines and where the crop marks were going to be, and then placement and size of text. This was before ChatGPT or any AI. So this was really just me trying to understand, like, when someone's reading about this product, what are they supposed to feel and what are they supposed to think of, and where should they be using these colors at, whether it's like during the springtime or maybe festival season. It was just like full circle working with them, because it would go from like photo to graphic design to then print, and then it'd start all over again, because I would pretty much work with them on like a beauty creations launch, and then next week I would work with them on a Be Bella Cosmetics launch. It was just a really fun time working with their team. So 8 Saints was a new brand back in 2019. How I found them, I was pretty much on Upwork at the time. They reached out to me and said, we really love your work and we're pretty much launching this new brand. They shared their complete brand guidelines and what their target audience was, some of the key like lighting that they were trying to achieve with the photos. We did a trial run the first time. I was pretty much going to be taking content photos for social and then sending them over all the assets that I would shoot for them. I had an intern that I hired to pretty much assist me, because I felt like it was a challenge to be like photographing and styling and, you know, prepping other aspects, since I was taking on a lot of like photo, graphic design. I just knew that I needed the extra support. So what we did here was we walked downtown Santa Ana and we went into this parking lot that they had there across the studio. We took the products, put them in a bag, and took a couple props with us, and we just started walking around and styling the products. I found this purse. I pretty much put all the products in there, and I wanted it to feel like someone's on the go with their skincare products. And I was like rolling on the floor, getting the shots that we needed. But this was a really fun shoot. I think it showed me that I was really like stepping out of my comfort zone. Other potential clients were looking at my work and really loving it. You know, as simple as it was, I think it really just showed what our capabilities. I'm excited. Let's see what else we have in here. Okay, Miss Bella All Natural. So Bella All Natural, I believe 2019, we started working with Daisy. Honestly, Bella All Natural was the brand that tested us with real ingredients, because I had been working so much with like beauty and skincare that they were the first wellness brand, and she was targeting the Latino community as well. She had her location in other areas of LA, but she had seen my work that I was producing, and she reached out and said, I want to send you my products and I want to work together. This shot here, I'm so impressed with still, because I'm like, this is really good for 2019 work. I pretty much photographed the product itself, I think on a yellow background. And then I think these are the actual products placed in. And I probably moved things in post in Photoshop to kind of just have more alignment and things looking a little more clean and polished. But I would say this was fun because I was really intimidated to work with actual like fruits, ingredients, and she really challenged us with this project here. So truth is, we've been working in wellness since 2019, and I would say I'm pretty proud of us. Okay, now we're going into 2020. I hate to say it. It was the year of the pandemic. But we were still working on projects. And I would probably say 2020 was the year that we just truly grew. But this project here is kind of full circle, because the company I used to work for, being East Lion, Cupid Shoes, back in my corporate life of my career, they reached out and they said, we'd love for you to produce, pretty much run a whole photo shoot, source talent, and being models, photographer, and stylist, hair and makeup. And I was pretty much the creative director for this project. I was able to source the models, present it to the vice president of East Lion / Cupid Shoes, Julie. She was, till this day, I always say that she was such a great mentor. She really challenged me, I think, in my role that I was in. People were truly fearful of her, but I honestly embraced her. I think that every challenge she gave me, it literally, I think, made me the creative that I am today. And I think her reaching out, or her team reaching out and saying, we'd love for you to produce this project, it meant a lot. It was Avery, which was a footwear company. The goal was to be a company about sustainability, since that was the huge conversation in 2020. Pretty much got to work with these models in a studio in downtown LA. We went and scouted the location before even booking. We pretty much casted the models that you see here. And shout out to my creative friend, Ron, because he was actually the one who photographed this project. I think collaborating with other creatives really showed me how to work with others and collaborate and bring something great to life. And I really hope that I made Julie proud, but I'm so grateful that I had this full circle opportunity. Ooh, holiday content. So this was a campaign for Be Bella, and they had sent me all their products. I think one note to add is that in 2019, we moved out of our Santa Ana location and moved to my apartment in Whittier. And I actually built out a studio in one of the bedrooms. This is where I photographed their products at. They would send me their products in 2020, being the pandemic year. I grew to love holiday season when it comes to styling because of just working with holiday props, the different ribbons and textures that you could add in. But this was shot on like a simple white background. I think what tells the story here are the props and the colors. Honestly, I understand why Macy's probably loves red, because seeing Be Bella products being red, the red just captures like so much depth in a product and the contrast. 2020 was probably like a true rise for us because so many clients were sending me products to my home. And I just thought like, okay, I think when the pandemic was announced, it was scary for a lot of people, but it was a time where people started really caring about their websites and investing back into them. So you're probably going to see that through this year is so many different more brands and categories that we're tapping into. Well, hello, plastics. This was a really fun campaign because throughout this whole time of when we met Glamify Me, we were continuously working with them. We were doing social media management for them. We were doing product development, all of their graphic design. And pretty much this was a campaign that we produced. Leonard was just like such an out of the box thinker and really progressive with his ideas. He actually was the one to share the talent with us. I have to say that these three beautiful women here are like iconic influencers still till this day. Marlene, Laudy, and Zoraida, they were just like these up and coming influencers during that time. And I think to see them now today, what they're producing, makes me so proud of them. But they were on TikTok and this set was so much fun. We had all of them in hot pink. It was like a play on Mean Girls, Barbie. I think Ariana Grande was like really big at this time. I mean, she's still iconic, right? But I think during this time, this was like a key part and just an influence. We shot this in LA. I had to like source the location, source talent, and find the photographer. And this is where I met my friend Layla. She's a creative in the industry, and she actually took these shots. This was just really fun because we hired like some well-known makeup artists. I think I met Gilly here, and I got to work with him on set. It was like really colorful. It was retro. There was like vanity areas. We made this like custom Barbie box. It was a Glamify Me box, and we added cellophane on it to create that reflection in some of the shots. I would say this was a really fun shoot, and from the talent here to working with Leonard and just Glamify Me, definitely giving plastics. This was the year of the lash. Let me tell you, every beauty client that I was working with had lashes. It wasn't just like 5 styles. This was probably over like 20 different styles of lashes, but they were 3D faux mink, I believe. This shot here was, I felt a little overwhelmed because I was like, okay, how am I gonna style all these lashes? I pretty much just was like, okay, let's play on the boxes and just styling them in ways where you could read the name still and reference the product. Again, I loved hard lighting, so we pretty much styled each box. And a little trick that we would use was we would get an exact ruler or maybe like a pen, and we would measure each one out so there was enough space just so that it had like some breathing room which within each product. It was still minimal. You could still see the product. And I probably added the text in post just for legibility, but overall, I definitely think this was the year of lashes. Wow. I have not seen this one in a minute, but this was the Living Color collection. And a little backstory was I was really tapping into understanding trends, and this was the year of tie-dye. Okay, we're seeing this trend heavily. So pretty much we're like, how do we add it to beauty and lashes? Because again, lashes were such a huge category in beauty. Working with Leonard, Glamify Me, he was like, I want to go fun. I'm thinking color. And immediately I was like, okay, let's do tie-dye. I had made this mood board that was like extremely vibrant in colors. I think there was like greens, purples, pinks. And I was like, okay, well, we have down the packaging, you know, things went to print. Now, what are we gonna do for the product photography and this collection? Since I knew that we couldn't really work with talent because of COVID happening, I was like, okay, I really have to style these products. Since it was already like vibrant and loud in itself, I think the pattern and the design, I knew I was like, okay, I want to keep the shots minimal, but I added in daisies. I added in these beautiful white daisies, and I felt like it paid like a tribute to the 70s, keeping it groovy. And that's what this Live in Color collection was all about. I think this color was like vibrant, and I think something that was needed during a time that was challenging for a lot of people. So at this point in time, we had outgrown my apartment studio, and it was like the boom of e-commerce. Everyone wanted to be on e-com during this year. And pretty much I knew, I was like, okay, if we're gonna scale this business, I need a bigger location. But I had paid my dues with the whole commuting, and I said, I'm only gonna move out of this studio apartment if my business is within like 20 minutes of my home. And I was driving around Uptown Whittier. I found this studio on Penn Street, and this is where this project was shot. That was the space that would become Ouu I Love Studios. Now, this was a dream project. This was an opportunity that we had where we went to New York to pretty much shoot on location at an exhibit at the Javits Center. And this was because my friend, Kristen Turner, she actually hired us to come out and shoot in New York. And what I mean by us was pretty much Brenda and I, we flew out to New York, and we had a bunch of equipment delivered to our hotel room. It was crazy to look back on because I'm like, us two women lugging equipment from like our hotel room down to calling a taxi cab to taking it to the expo. But that project really showed me what our capabilities were. We could go anywhere, and my dream has always been to go to New York. And I think it's seeing projects like this that really took me to this other side of the country where I'm just a Latina woman during this time that couldn't believe that she was there. But this project's special because it was literally a full day of production. Actually 2 days, because day 1, we went and set up all of our gear. And day 2, we were full day on set, and it was just nonstop styling. We invested into more artificial lighting, and if it wasn't probably for those new lights, we probably wouldn't have gotten this beautiful shot. So 2022 is the year that we added video services, and I would say this took us to the next level. So during this time, reels were really taking off. Like, social was shifting from still images to really trying to capture products in video. The whole algorithm was really favoring video in reality versus still images. So the way that we landed this project was really interesting because I was on vacation, first time ever during this business, and I got a call while I was in Puerto Vallarta by Ruby. She's like, we need help producing this project for Must Be Cindy. It was like photos, but what they were adding was now video. I pretty much was on the call and I said, no problem. Our team can totally take on this project and produce it in a week. Mind you, we had never truly done video. I think looking back at this video, transitions were pretty good. We did the whole lip gloss flip and we did these tight macros on the product and the formula. I would say I was impressed with this first video. We had Samir, our lead photographer, videographer, capture this, and I would say he did a great job with lighting and those tight macro shots. Us winging it really turned into something beautiful, and never be afraid to say yes. Okay, let's get into this next video. Okay, the baddest perra right here. So this collab was with Louis Castro and Beauty Creations. This video is probably one of my favorites because we literally had to figure out how are we gonna tell a story for this product and this campaign. This is where Samir and I collaborated. I was doing research on tying back to the name of Fuego. What I was able to come up with was we pretty much built out these fans that would sit at the base of the floor and added in these like silver gray curtains, and the fans added movement. So with lighting, Samir and I pretty much added in these like LED strips. We added in this like gradient effect with these lights that had like purples and pinks, kind of just to create that gradient in the background. And we had movement to replicate or to imitate pretty much fire, playing back to the name of Fuego. And the background would move because of the fans that we had at the base of the floor. But I would say we pretty much killed it on this whole campaign. So although video was all the rage, we were still doing photo, and let's see what the next shot was. Araceli Beauty. Now, this story is pretty much, we had set up a pop-up at the Shop Small Soiree in Downey for, I believe it was Hispanic Heritage Month, and I pretty much took an opportunity where I had seen her booth. At the end of the night, when we were wrapping up, I was like, I need to go up to her and I need to meet her. Because I truly loved what she was doing with her brand. Just Sally's a great person overall and so inspirational to many of us. And I went up and I pretty much pitched Ouu I Love to her. She was really intrigued by what we were doing, and we set up a call with her and Mark, who works with her and is also her husband. Pretty much we landed our first project with her, and this is her mascara here. With this shot, it tells this story in a way where it's like an escape, like you're going back to Mexico and you're really feeling the real ingredients that are in the product. And the monarca that we added in the shot was really just touching on culture more and what the roots were to her brand and why she started it. I think tying in the monarca, the avocado, and the product here, it's really telling a story of, I think, just Latinas in beauty and really what it pays tribute to in her background and her roots. And I would say the shot is just stunning overall, and the lighting here is just a different direction that we were taking Ouu I Love. Let's play this next one. So this project here is such a key part, I think, in Ouu I Love's growth period, because not only did we capture photo, we also captured a campaign video. Really with this project, it wasn't just, the photographing or video aspect, but we were also doing set design. What was crazy was that we shot this in our old studio And the old studio was only like 800 square feet up in Uptown Whittier. And I remember that day as if it was yesterday. We had bought a few yards like of fabric, and as we're draping it in the background of the shot, we realized that we ran out of fabric, that we needed more. And I think in those situations, it could be so easily to like panic, but I think you realize like the reason that you have a team is for us to like problem solve together. Our video actually went live at the retail locations. And as a team, we all went to visit our work at the Cerritos Mall. And we have this really cool picture of us all just visiting and really just appreciating our work. And it shows how as a team we collaborate, and just seeing our work up there was just a OMG moment overall. I can't believe this one's in here. Okay, this was so major for us because this is the brand Libre. And with Libre, we got to actually work with Karen and her team. It's like when they say you're at the right time or the right place at the right time, right? And it just so happened that Robert, who is, he owns Rebel Management, he also works with Libre and Karen. And he shared with me this project of them launching her brand. I was in disbelief because, you know, hearing like there's this opportunity for you and your team to work with Karen in producing this brand that she's, you know, truly poured like her time and just love into. And to have someone like her who really just resonates with, I think, our Latina community. But this project I hold so dear to my heart because it meant that people were noticing our work. We were able to produce some still images as well as video. The videos are probably still one of my favorite campaigns, probably up there with the top 5, okay? But overall, I think we went with hard lighting here. The styling was to still be like luxury and for a lash. The packaging was so beautiful, and what we wanted here was for the logo to be showcased and the different styles that were going to be featured in this collection. But overall, I'm so proud of our team. This was a huge accomplishment. I would say it was a key milestone for us for sure. Ooh, this is a cool project here. So this is Spritz Society. So interesting because this was a time that we were a little bit, I would say, struggling in the sense that we were trying to find other clients and really just tap into new categories. This year we had manifested that we wanted to like tap into more food, beverages being one of them. And we actually slid into Spritz Society's DMs and said, we'd love to work with you guys. They gave us a chance. And this was already, I would say, a few projects under our belt, but this project was really cool because it was their passion fruit flavor that they were launching. We weren't going to go to the islands, right? But we're like, let's bring the islands to our studio. I remember us like taping the wallpaper on as a background, and it had like a toucan in it, and there was like palm trees. And then for the video shot, it was so cool because I remember Samir and we were like trying to get this overhead shot all in one take. And it was cool to see because we hadn't really done something like that in video. And we had challenged ourselves for sure. Okay, moving away from the tropical. So this was a very special project. This was a collaboration with Te Salud and Laura Mulatto. With this project, not only did we photograph their products, but we also got to pretty much direct their whole campaign for this project. This was fun because, again, we produced this in our old studio, working with a talent like Laura. I remember specifically that I had never worked with a talent like her because she was so flexible on set, and I think that's something that you really admire when you collaborate with people, is that them willing to like try some of your ideas. She was just great energy. I remember that day just feeling so, I would say, grateful for the opportunity. The way that our team was able to contribute on the set design was we played on shapes here, and we pretty much built these backgrounds out of wood and did some custom painting. And shout out to Emily, because Emily was actually working with us in studio. She was our photo assistant. She pretty much nailed these together, painted them, and she got them ready for our photo shoot. But this was really fun to shoot Laura for both photo and video. So thanks, Te Salud. Ooh, this was really fun. So this was EXO's lip gloss campaign. We were riding off the wave of this collaboration that just happened with Te Salud and Laura Mulatto. And we felt like we were on like this high of, okay, we just wrapped up this really cool project. Blanca called us and she's like, I want you to work on this next campaign with me and my team. And pretty much she said, give me summer. And with that, we hit the ground running. Literally was, how do we bring summer and lip glosses all in one place for this campaign? Her team had found this location in, I would say, LA, and they actually had an indoor pool. Basically, we were like, okay, how do we add in this color of vibrance, being like the pinks and the orange, as well as having the models move in the water that they had for this like pool in the studio. So just looking at this shot, tying in the summer feel, the talent, and the product here, we went macro with this shot because we felt like it just really captured the product. And I would say the model here, Adette, looks beautiful. Oh, this one was, wow. This is like a full circle moment here. This was the campaign with Te Salud and De Oro. And let me tell you, 2015 Denitza was literally fangirling, but I didn't share that, okay? This whole project, they were launching a passion fruit line with him, a maracuya. My background, I'm Peruvian and Mexican, but in Peru, you drink maracuya, passion fruit drinks, and it just, I think the flavor to like them working with De Oro and just my youth of growing up with his music, it just felt like a full circle moment. Honestly, this campaign, we produced photo, video, set design. We went over creative with their team on like the shots that we would be capturing for both aspects of the project. This photo shoot really put into perspective that our team was ready just to take things to the next level. And that really meant that it was time for us to move to a new studio space. This shoot was everything. So right here, we're working with Shy Beauty, and this was actually the first photo shoot campaign that we had in our new Ouu I Love studio here. I had met Shailyn and her team at Cosmoprof. They were our first client stepping foot on this cyc wall that we built. Took all summer, but I think to see her modeling on it and showcasing her products was just so fun for our team. We had our photo video team on set, we had our social media team, and it was just really cool to see our team collaborating both on like hi-fi content and lo-fi content overall. This is a proud moment, and this will probably be a very special shoot for Ouu I Love Studios. Ooh, the winter berries. So this shoot it had more of like storytelling in this campaign. We had been working with Onset, pretty much owned by Les, and we got to collaborate with her team on creative direction, adding in props into a set design. We did this like custom backdrop. We brought snow to the studio. But this was just so much fun because our team, we actually added the cranberries to these trees, and We used this like cotton for the snow to kind of add dimension and texture. And then we printed out this custom backdrop that I'm now looking on it, I'm really impressed because a campaign that we were able to style on our psych wall. I love this. I think the colors and the cranberries look beautiful, the models, and shout out to Les and the on-set team for letting us be part of this project. 2025. Wow. This project was probably one of the biggest productions that we've ever worked on as a team. We got to work with Te Salud on their collaboration with Let's Do Makeup. I would say that this literally pushed our creative limits as a team. Our team got to contribute on creative direction, set design, photo, video. I think one of the key areas that we hadn't worked with Te Salud on was a lifestyle photo shoot. It was like a 2-day event. Pretty much our team was on set for lifestyle. We planned out all of our shots here. Day 2 was where we had like 3-set build out that covered the Mercado set, the Verano set, and a gym set. But overall, this campaign was just one that I think truly challenged us, pushed us creatively, pushed us as a team to collaborate with one another. And then the build outs were just something that we truly took to the next level. And not only did we do like the lifestyle photo and video for the campaign, but we also got to work on the product campaigns. We got to shoot 3 different videos, one for the energy focus, another for hydration immunity, and another that just combined both products. But I really think this project touched on us not only growing as a team, but it showed our growth in collaboration with Te Salud and the fact that both of our clients got to collaborate with one another. And overall, I just think that this was a project for us to be truly proud of and the new studio that we're in. I'm very grateful for the opportunity and I'm excited to see what's next. Ooh, is this the last one? Wow. Now this one is a project that I think truly just put into perspective how much we've grown as a team. And it came at the perfect time. We had been working on high commercial projects, and this was an opportunity for us to really focus on a project that was more of a passion project. We called it She's Blooming Story, and it really captured telling a story of a woman and her blooming into the person that she's becoming during this period of growth. And during this project, I really got to focus on creative direction, pushing the team on more of an editorial project. I got to contribute on like the styling aspect. We had our team capturing social content as well as photo and video. And I think seeing the team collaborate with one another really put into perspective why we do the things that we do here at Ouu I Love. It really showed me that everything that we produce, we do it with love, and I feel like we're telling a story with each campaign. Photos, the video, the lighting, the way that we were able to set things up. I just know that there's going to be more projects like this in the future and that we have the team and we're capable of doing that. Thank you all so much for being part of this story and journey with us, especially to our clients who have been part of this growth, to our past Ouu I Love creatives that have been part of this journey, and to our current team that is creating projects with us. I'm not sure what the future holds for us, but I hope it ends with Ouu I Love.